What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in to Cannabis Legalization News, where we explain marijuana laws so you can change them. Today's an international episode where we're going to be discussing cannabis legalization in Ireland with Nicole Lonergan of Cork Cannabis Activist Network. So let's just get into it. Hey, Nicole, thanks for joining us. Hey, Tom and Miggy.
Hey.
What's up? Sunday, everyone.
Happy Sunday.
It's our activism show, and it's an international affair because we have Ireland on the line. Nicole, where are you in Ireland?
I am having some audio issues here, unfortunately, so hang on. I'll probably have to leave and rejoin. Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay. So,
Cork, Ireland.
Cork, Ireland? That's great, because according to her, they call cannabis in Ireland cannabis.
Well, and I always, it's just weird when we talk to someone in a different country, how, I think we're going to have to ask her like the predominant language there, because I think we were joking it's Gaelic. And
for everybody who thinks it's Gaelic, it's not. As soon as we get her back.
Nicole, can you hear us?
Nicole, can you hear us?
I'm back. The sound is okay for now. I hope.
So why don't you correct us Americans over here about how to say Gaelic properly?
Oh, Gaelic or Gaelga. Like the language is, you would say Gaelga. Or
what is that?
Gaelga. Now I feel like I'm getting it wrong. So
that's all right. That's all right. But you're joining us from Cork, Ireland. Is that on the west coast, the east coast?
Kind of southeast a little bit. Then
southeast. All right. Now I went to Ireland in 2003. Beautiful place. Evidently, like I have some genetics from there. Only about 48% though, and it was temperate. Like I saw some palm trees there. It was green. Does it get really cold in Ireland, or does it stay about? Is it pretty temperate?
I'm questioning, were you really in Ireland? because, it's really.
It was near Dublin.
It's so cold. Okay, Dublin. What time of year did you go?
It must be a seasonal. Yeah,
it was June.
Oh, you were lucky. Yeah, no, it's like now December. It's freezing. I'm so cold. I can barely feel my hands. But that's just me. I'm a perisher. But
does it snow?
It snows sometimes. It's more so slush. So if you're lucky, we'll get snow, but mostly it's just mushy crap.
So is it good growing? Like what's the, mostly indoor grows must be right, or seasonal grows in some parts. Like how long are your summers?
It depends. I mean, I can remember back in the day where we actually had 3 months of summer and that was, normal. Whereas nowadays it's, we're lucky if we get 2 weeks to a month some years, which is slightly depressing, and I'm saying it with a big smile on my face. It's really unfortunate. The weather here is trash most of the time. If we're lucky, we get nice summers, but this summer wasn't great. It was, very short, and I was still waiting in like November. I was like, lads, where's summer? I'm still waiting for it. So
Well, that's all right. Were you allowed to go outside this year? Well, everybody could go outside, but could you go anywhere? Like was anything open in Ireland?
I mean, you'd have the random few shops open and stuff, but I mean, no, there was nothing to do. I'm kind of a homebody anyway, so nothing really changed for me.
So what would happen if you started growing some weed in Ireland? Like, for example, maybe we get you something easy to start with, like an auto flower modeled off of the OJ Kush strain, That's why we're asking the growing questions, the climate, it's all about what are the plants doing there? I mean, it's green, it's emerald, right?
For sure, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure now. I'm not a farmer or a horticulturalist or nothing like that, but I'm pretty sure Ireland and England in particular are really primed for growing cannabis here. I know the weather's not great, but I mean, we have greenhouses. There's plenty of indoor grows going on because every grow shop I go to looking for a grow light for my basil and my coffee plants, you can't get one. Everyone's growing at home. We know what's happening.
So it's not that big of a deal to grow at home?
Oh, no, it is. If you're caught by the guards, you're screwed.
No, they call them guards there. We call them the popo, the fudge.
The popo, the 5-0.
The 5-0, yeah. Mickey would call them pigs back in the day. Mickey, did you ever call them pigs?
No, I actually never did. And that's, for me, for legalization, for advocacy, I don't really mind cops because I have nice things, and I will eventually need them one day. But and that's the thing about legalization is once it's legal, you don't have to fear the cops. And that's the whole thing. As a goddamn citizen, I don't have to, I smoked a joint on my way here. I did that trip cross country, and now 3 of the 5 states I go through are now legal. It makes a big difference as a citizen how you feel, And I wanted to ask though, in England, or not even, sorry, I just read the comment there. In the UK or in Ireland, what is the state of cannabis? Like I saw a thing on a website that said it's mostly legal as far as the attitudes go in Cork itself. Is that true, or you're still going through a lot of?
Oh, I don't even know where to start with this one, to be honest, because no, it's not legal. Like, full stop. It is not legal whatsoever. It's down to the guards' discretion now, mainly, if they want to do anything related to, like, if they caught someone with cannabis, they could choose to just be like, okay, go on about your business. But in a lot of cases, and especially what we're seeing at the moment, is they're targeting people who are consuming cannabis, growing it, possibly even selling it. It's shameful, really. I mean, we've had some really horrible stories in the news recently where a 24-year-old man, for instance, he was apparently caught walking down the street with a briefcase full of money. The Gardaí were alerted to his presence by smelling cannabis on his person. They arrested him. There was cannabis found at his house, as well as more money, and he was given 4 years in jail.
4 years of his life is gone now.
Yep.
For having, I mean, I understand
For
it was the
being a
unlicensed.
successful florist.
Yeah, for being a successful florist, for being able to grow flowers. He was able to go to prison, and we have to pay for that. How much does it cost for Ireland to put somebody up in the Irish prisons? Are they terrible? How are Irish prisons?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I've been in one on a tour, but I've never stayed in one. I honestly have no clue. I would reckon that they're not the best. Now, I have seen a few of them have TVs in them, but still, I don't think no one wants to go there.
Yeah, it's just Riverdance. That's all they do. They just have Riverdance on a loop. That's the only thing on the TV.
Oh, that's like torture.
Yeah, peeling like potatoes all day. I mean, are we just gonna get there? We're gonna go like full racist here.
Right. Oh, come on. Yeah. So it sounds like you guys don't even have medical weed in Ireland.
The deal with medical cannabis is way more complicated. So I'll try and be brief. Essentially, I think it was June of 2019, our then Minister for Health, Simon Harris, came out and said, right, we're going to introduce a medical cannabis access scheme that's compassionate, with patients in mind. They're going to be able to be prescribed certain products under this scheme. Yeah, that didn't happen. Basically, what's happened instead is that program went absolutely nowhere. If patients want medical cannabis, they have to apply for a ministerial license, which means they have to go through every single other method of treatment before a prescription for cannabis or a license for cannabis can be granted. In one case,
what about CBD? Is it the same? Do you guys have any difference between if there's THC or CBD in the plant, or is it all just illegal?
Oh, it's even more complicated. So, in regards to THC and CBD, under Irish law, any flower from the cannabis plant is completely illegal, but there is this weird gray area when it comes to CBD, so that I could go into a shop in town and buy some crappy CBD product, but a lot of shops here were being raided for selling CBD flower. Now, as far as I know, since the UN had that vote declaring, was it the UN that declared, or sorry, the EC,
yes,
the European
UN.
Commission.
The UN, yeah.
But no, the EC, the European Commission, declared that CBD wasn't a narcotic. So
the court, yes. And so the case that came out. So yeah, there was quite a busy week or month in international cannabis legalization news. And so, if you haven't yet, just hit like, hit subscribe, and then check out those episodes that we did. Because we did one about the UN case. And I think we also did one about the European case. Oh, crap. That one's still stuck in the editing port. So I tried to do one of those where I explain what happened in there. And then I sent it off to the editor. And my computer broke. So I've been editing my own stuff on here. And so now I'm trying to find somebody that can edit for me. HR is just a headache. You see, this is what will happen when you legalize weed. You'll have a business that you have to take care of. It'll bother you. So what do you do in Ireland then? You're not just an activist, right?
No, I mean, I hope people don't just define me by that. It's a passion of mine, but it's certainly not something that is just me, is just, my sole interest. I was explaining before we went live that I actually haven't been able to work in 2 years and 4 months due to a back injury that I have. Well, it's not even an injury. I was misdiagnosed with scoliosis about 2 years ago and only found out recently that apparently I don't have it, even though I have reports from 3 different consultants and physicians saying that I do, and x-rays and whatever. So they were saying, oh, sure, we'll just send you for an MRI. So the MRI came and went. I'm still none the wiser. The healthcare system here is fairly dire, to say the least.
Really? Is it because it's the socialized medicine? We're indoctrinated in America to be scared of socialized medicine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're indoctrinated to be scared of a lot of things,
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But not cheeseburgers. Cheeseburgers we are not tried to be made scared of at all. We advertise the hell out of cheeseburgers. I was seeing this Wendy's ad the other day, and it was just like stuff that I don't eat, and I'm like, man, I do not connect well with these people. But I guess that's what they want. Yeah.
Nicole, are you familiar with your guys' judicial system? Like, I believe, and Tom, can you correct me, because this is why I have a lawyer friend. Most justice is European based, right? Like in Hong Kong when England was there and so forth. What's your court system set up? Like, how can the common person make a difference in your guys' country?
Like, you mean in trying to get cannabis to be legal here?
Yeah.
See, if I knew the answer to that, I would already have it done. Basically, the government just aren't listening to us. There's a lot of activists that have become really vocal lately, including one in particular that's been in the spotlight. I don't know if you've heard of Vera Toomey and her daughter Ava.
Huh.
This is like really sad. So basically, Ava is Vera's daughter. She has severe epilepsy, and she uses cannabis medicine to treat the epilepsy.
Is it because it is the CBD style of it as well? Because epilepsy very often, and like you mentioned scoliosis, I'm like, well, can you access CBD to try? Because like CBD is good for your bones,
For sure, yeah. It's a gray area. Accessing flower is a legal gray area. You can access oils, but I'm pretty sure it depends on the extraction method used. Just the law is a mess. So this is why there's so much hassle about it, because nobody really knows.
They're not protecting anybody.
Nope.
So
nobody.
Ireland's like America's Florida.
Can you explain that better?
Wait a second. Is Ireland common law or civil law?
I have no idea.
All right.
I don't know. Differentiate between the two for me. I'm not legally versed
well,
at
like
all.
in civil law, like in Europe, like in France, I know that's civil law. So like you're guilty until proven innocent. But like in England, it's common law. And like we got our common law from England and they kind of exported it. And so I'm not sure if Ireland picked up the common law as well, or if it was more like civil law, like, the rest of Europe. But in common law, you have like, you're free until you're found guilty. I believe that's one of the differences. And then you have like all those amendments and you go to court a lot more.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of lawyers in Ireland. Yeah.
There's a lot of solicitors in Ireland.
Okay. That's another thing that we learned. The solicitor is a European word for some type of lawyer. Yeah. We don't have that here in America. It's a different nomenclature. But
right, okay.
We did tell people that what is cannabis called in the old Gaelic?
Cannabis.
Yeah.
So original, so Irish. No, it's we still call it weed here. We call it cannabis. Nobody really calls it marijuana. I even feel weird saying that word. Mm-hmm. So it's just weed and cannabis basically, or green, whatever.
And here in the States, we're divided. The United States, in Ireland, is it what provinces, territories? How can you do individual changing the law per territory, per area?
It's too small. I wouldn't imagine. I mean, we have Northern Ireland and then the Republic of Ireland, and Northern Ireland is essentially part of the UK, and we're not. We're just the Republic of Ireland. We're our own little thing down here.
So you're a republic.
Yeah.
So representative democracy. How do we change the law then? Do we need to buy some Irish politicians?
Oh, that's the only way you're going to do it. I guarantee you, because people have been fighting tooth and nail here. As I mentioned Vera earlier, she walked from Cork to Dublin. That's a distance of, I think, about 240 kilometers to try and secure this medicine for her daughter. And they just don't care. They really don't care. I mean, no, because what they eventually ended up doing was saying, right, you can have a ministerial license. Before COVID, that meant that patients would have to travel outside of the country, go to The Hague in Amsterdam to get the medicine from a pharmacy, pay through the nose for a prescription. Like, I'm talking about a couple of grand every few months, and travel all the way back to Ireland with the medicine. Now, since COVID happened, the government said, right, we'll hire a courier and we'll deliver the medicine to you, but we need payment for the medicine up front. And now they've said that when the restrictions are lifted, those deliveries are going to stop. And that's what Vera is fighting for, is saying, I'm not risking my family and my daughter's life potentially to catch COVID, to go outside the country to get her medicine. There is no reason for that to happen. And the government are just like,
Are people getting raided? Or businesses getting raided? So one of our, this guy never usually tunes in. So they say cops are raiding CBD dispensaries in Ireland. Is that a thing?
They were for a long time. They were, which was just, I mean, I don't need to tell you guys, that's madness. Like, why would they do that?
Wow.
But again,
was this recent? Were they recently raiding these CBD shops?
Yeah, it definitely happened this year, a few raids. And
this year?
Yeah, and last year too.
Wow.
But
our raids have stopped.
Good.
But like at the federal level, but only like the last 8 years.
Yeah. It's a sad state of affairs. Now, I know they've stopped recently enough because of the whole CBD being declared not a narcotic. Whether they plan on taking that up again, I don't know. I really hope not, because CBD, really, the guards have better things to be doing. Like, there's absolutely no call for it whatsoever.
Oh, you can see the genetics, because like even in America, you have to have COAs because you just look and see where the spikes are, and it's obvious. Like I don't have a COA on me. I probably have one in my office somewhere, but like it's obvious when it's CBD weed, because the spike on CBD is just out the wazoo, and the thing on THC, even if you add them both together, is usually only like 1% or less. And so there's genetics out there where, you know, it's clearly doesn't have this magic chemical called THC that we're so terrified of, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing that's really been pushed in kind of the media narrative here is THC, it's psychoactive. It's like, dude, the coffee that you drank this morning is psychoactive. The beer that you're drinking is psychoactive. Are you for real? And they just, whenever you say that, they're just like, oh no, but cannabis causes psychosis. And it's like, are we really?
Do you know what the endocannabinoid system is?
Yes, thankfully I do, but a lot of people don't. But I only discovered it a couple of years ago, and like, that's a massive deal. And a lot of people just don't know about it. They're like, what? It's like, this is something new. You need to know about this.
Yeah. But how is Ireland still like in 1930 when you were right next to Amsterdam? Like, Amsterdam didn't collapse. You know, through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and 2000s. And they've had...
standing.
Yeah, it just is the fear-mongering, the prohibition. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's very sad because I've been reading a lot online lately, and it's very important the language that's being used about cannabis, because I mean, people love drinking here. Drinking is accepted.
I love it. It is an Irish heritage to get drunk. I remember when I was in Ireland, one of the stories that I recall was I was walking over this glen, and there was a berm, and there was a guy clearly drunk, face down, and then there was kids poking him with a stick. And then like, hey, mister, they all have these Irish accents, and I come over and I sound like John Wayne, and they're like, you're not Irish? I'm like, no, I think he'll be all right, but you kids get on, take off. You know?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like, I mean, I totally accept that alcohol can be great. People can enjoy it responsibly. People do abuse it, and that's seen a lot in Ireland. And it's very kind of sad that our government don't seem to realize that alcohol is a drug. When you're going to a pub, you are going to a designated recreational drug consumption room. Like, I don't understand why they're like, oh, cannabis. No. It's a drug, just like everything else. Like, have a bit, you'd be grand. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
What is it? Did beer have a better propaganda or PR group in Ireland than cannabis? Because even the Barney Castle has cannabis in the poison garden section. Like,
but like the cannabis was introduced to the Western world by an Irish physician named OShaughnessy. Now I believe he pronounced it. You're right. He pronounced it O'Shaughnessy, not O'Shaughnessy. That's just ridiculous.
It's like Shaquille O'Neal, O'Shaughnessy. No,
it's a joke from Key and Peele, but yes.
Right. Okay. Anyway. But yeah, no. William, what's his face? William O'Shaughnessy. Yeah. He was a pioneer. I mean, and the fact that we're ignoring our own history in regards to cannabis is shameful, because why would we ignore this? He helped people. Wouldn't we want to kind of be proud of that and publish that and claim that as our own?
Crossed on this, I like to set reasonable goals, because then you might get to them. And so in 20 more years or so, it'll be the 200th anniversary of Dr. O'Shaughnessy discovering Indian hemp, which of course is just so colonization or colonial and imperial, because he discovered it. Wait, why? Well, because he was a white guy from Ireland. And so he wrote a book about like science about it. Before that, it was just something being used by the indigenous people,
Yeah, it didn't exist until he wrote about it. But yeah, it's real sad that the government just don't want to listen. I don't understand it. I really don't.
Is there a version? So here in the States, we have anti-drug people, anti-prohibition people. Is there a version of that there in Ireland? Do you have a government-funded agency that's actually trying to push against you?
There's a lot of people. I think it was like last year there was a group that came out and dubbed themselves the Cannabis Risk Alliance, and it was made up of like addiction specialists and doctors who basically wrote a public letter to Irish media saying that, once cannabis becomes legal, it's game over. It's game over. And it was like,
what game are we playing? What game?
But they're saying, all of the.
I'm sorry, you think this is a game? That guy has 4 years of his life that you've taken from him because he has this really good game skill to make flowers.
Yeah.
Ooh, and you're like, seriously, this is real? You guys.
And do you know what they said about that guy as well? The 24-year-old who was given 4 years, that he was a productive member of society, that he was involved in sport, that he was holding down a job, that he had no other convictions of any kind. And they thought to go from, well, he's a decent person, right? He committed a crime under the law. It was only a bit of flour. It was only a bit of money. 4 years. I don't get that logic, because there are literally people who are committing far more heinous crimes in this country and they're just getting a slap on the wrist. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Our friend Lance Glore, serving 10 years, he's on his 4th year now. He was having food drives and collecting coats.
Bless him. There's no need. Like, it's really sad. Why would they want to target people? Like, I could tell you some stories that will just depress you. And honestly, if I could leave this country, I would. I don't want to be here anymore with the way things are going with our government. Last year, like this story when it came out. Sorry,
you can vote the guys out. They might not leave. We'll see if ours is going to leave. But we voted him out. And so, like, when's the next Irish election? Who's on the ballot? Who's the pro-weed candidate in Ireland,
None. There doesn't seem to be really any. They don't really want to talk about it.
Why?
Honestly, we have one guy from the Labour Party, Aidan O'Riordan, who is in favour of decriminalisation of all drugs. But I contacted him and just said, look, in regards to cannabis, we need to get this moving. And he basically just said, I'm not the person you're looking for cannabis legalization.
All right. I'm going back to Ireland as soon as this COVID stuff's over. And then I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna be like Randy Marsh, where he just brought just shitloads of weed to Canada. Not Canada, China. But I'm gonna do it into Ireland. And then of course I'm not actually gonna bring shitloads of weed. I might bring seeds, or I might mail them to them. And then who do we need to talk to? Because there's a shitload of money to be made on this. Who's the Irish mobster that we need on our team to make sure that all those politicians do what they're supposed to?
I don't think I could give you that name, honestly. I know. But no, seriously, I have pointed out to them the amount of money that could be made from this. Like another politician who I don't think he's in Irish government anymore. He's an MEP in the European Parliament, Luke Ming Flanagan. He basically said in 2013 that there was an estimated 150,000 cannabis consumers in Ireland. It's way more than that. But he estimated that, if each of their average monthly spend was €100, and the cannabis products were taxed at 33%, that would net €60 million for the Irish economy. And we know that figure is going to be way higher, but the government just don't want to listen. Like, our Minister for the National Drug Strategy is Frank Feen. And I'm sorry now, but he's a dinosaur. He will not listen to anyone when it comes to cannabis.
Strategy. This Mr. Feen, what is his job duty? Because we had a program in the 80s called DARE. And so I want to see what Mr. Feen's jobs duties are for the National Drug Program.
Well, basically, his plan is just say no and ignore everything. Like, he doesn't believe
you guys have an
cannabis.
abstinence-only sex ed program in Ireland, too?
Probably, yeah. I wouldn't put it past us. Honestly, he literally just came out and said, I don't believe in cannabis for medical use. And I have been emailing him, calling him every single week. His phone line is disconnected. His other one, his office is apparently closed. I've emailed him every single week. He will not respond. He's gone so far as to literally target other people on Twitter to be like, I'm going to respond to you, but has ignored every call for him to deal with cannabis people in Ireland and to implement national, a sensible policy. He just literally point blank ignores everyone. And I think it's an absolute disgrace. It's his job. This is his job, and he's just picking and choosing which parts to deal with. And I don't understand.
Is there a petition platform or anything like that in Ireland where you can collect signatures and raise awareness?
Yeah, but they don't go anywhere. There's been at least, I don't know, 10 petitions over the last number of years. They just go nowhere. The government
The
just...
petitions. So like you guys can put it on the ballot and the Irish people can vote yes or no, or does it have to go through the legislature?
Yeah, it doesn't really work like that, like with petitions. I think for the government to acknowledge a petition, it has to be brought to the Dáil by a member of our government. That I'm not 100% certain. It's like this Dáil Éireann is basically like a building where all the politicians meet and have their big meetings, essentially.
We call that Congress.
Right. But yeah, they just, I mean, petitions don't seem to go anywhere. Calling them doesn't seem to do anything because they won't accept our calls. Like, I mean, I get through to the reception or the secretaries, and God love them, they're so nice, but they're like, okay, we'll take your comments, we'll pass them on. And I'm like, but come on, I need a bit more than that. Like, this is affecting hundreds of thousands of people. We need a bit more urgency, but it just...
Can I donate to their political campaigns? How much does it cost to buy some Irish politicians? Seriously. Like, you know where this money came from, don't you?
Yeah, that'd be really nice. That would, because I just...
Why are you accepting a foreigner? Like, but like, I don't think foreigners can create... I mean, otherwise, like Russia could like write a check to the Donald Trump campaign. I don't think that that's really what they're looking for, right? Do you guys have like fundraising laws for your politics?
I'm not sure. I really don't know.
That's the kind of stuff you might have to do is like point shit out. Like maybe Guinness is the big thunder for everybody right now, and they don't want we to be through. I mean, that could be.
That's the thing. Yeah, no, honestly, the alcohol industry and the pharmaceutical industries in this country are massive. So of course they don't want cannabis coming knocking on their door, taking away any of their profits. But that's not a good enough excuse. I mean, this can help people. So
murdering people just because you make money on it doesn't make it right. You know, it's like we're getting all these guys like shit-faced and they get cancer and then they have to go like get cancer treatment. So this is win-win, guys. Come on. Yeah.
Apparently for them, yeah. I mean, it's a disgrace. And then people who do get cancer, I mean, they're not even being given medical cards, so they're left to suffer or being lumped with extortionate bills. Like the whole thing is just a mess here. Our government is incredibly corrupt. They don't have people's interests at heart. It really just seems like they want us to suffer, and we don't understand because surely they're elected to help us and listen to us and work for us. So why don't they?
Don't get disheartened though, because you know it's taken us almost 100 years for the MORE Act just to make it to
oh yeah, because like we started this shit. It's probably our fault. I bet like if you go back in time, I bet it is like the 1961 treaty or something. It's Harry J. Anslinger's fault still, you know. And so like back in the 30s when they prohibited it, then they started exporting it. I'm sure like you guys, because it was innocuous. I mean, I don't think people were going to use it for recreation back then. They might have used it like, oh, I stubbed my toe or I have a headache. You know, they still would have gotten drunk. So that's culturally acceptable.
Sure. Yep. I thought the funny thing was in relation to alcohol, the time of alcohol prohibition, when it came to Ireland to decide what to do, they kind of just went, no, we're all right. We'll leave alcohol legal. We actually quite like it over here. We just totally didn't take part in alcohol prohibition. We were just like, no, we love it. So the fact that cannabis is so like pushed aside as no, it's an evil drug. It's like, do you know what country you're even in? Like it's...
You have an endocannabinoid system, right? I mean, and they'll be like,
you say that,
I do? No. How? It's already in me? Oh, gosh. You know,
oh, my God, I'm a drug fiend. Yeah. But, like, that's the thing. When you say that to them, they're kind of like, you must have something wrong with you because I've never heard of this, so you must be wrong. And it's like...
Right.
Oh, get it
straight. Exactly. No, you're like banging your head against a wall. These people are coming at you because they're in power, and they're the ones that say, no, you're wrong because... I don't give an F about this issue, even though this issue, it affects your fellow man. It affects your constituent, your brother, your sister, your neighbor. I don't know what word to hit people to say. It hits the person that could be in your heart. Like it could hit you. Like prohibition, if you get a bad back and all of a sudden you weed your thing, well, guess what, buddy? You fought very hard against yourself. you know?
Absolutely. Like it's just really sad that they don't care.
Pain is what life is. You're going to get older. You're going to get sore. Things are going to hurt. And then you're telling me that there's a readily accessible, fairly damn safe, tasty treatment for pain out there. And it's illegal? What the fuck? You know?
Because it gives you psychosis. That's literally the narrative all the time is it gives you psychosis.
And what is psychosis? Psychosis is like, I am all stressed out right now. Okay, maybe I'm a little stressed out more still, but I feel better about it. I don't know.
I don't think it's. I'm going to keep trying to see if the crazy's in there. I haven't found it yet, but I'll keep looking for that crazy. Trying to that psychosis.
It's the lack of accountability. When I see it.
No, I was just going to say, geez, Snoop Dogg and Tommy Chong, they're chock full of the old psychosis.
Oh, yeah. Super paranoid. Right.
And lazy. Yeah. All these lazy, well-to-do people,
Yeah, well, it's a real crying shame. Yeah. I was just going to say, it's a real crying shame that when I write to the government, I have to preface my emails with, please do not dismiss this as being from a drug addict or drug abuser. I am a person. Because that's literally the response we get back is it's not saying you're a drug consumer. It's saying you are immediately an addict or an abuser and you must need treatment. It's I don't understand your logic.
We have articles on that now. For some reason, marijuana treatment crashes. Like just the amount of people that are sent to marijuana rehab just takes a dive off a cliff after legalization, which essentially means that all these rehabs are part of like a court-ordered bullshit. So it's like, no, I'll go to rehab, and weed is like so not addictive that you will forget to smoke it, which is annoying, but it's how it is. And so you're like, wow. I mean, it's not cigarettes. And then what's the legal smoking age? Is it legal to smoke cigarettes in Ireland? And if so, how old do you have to be?
18.
18.
Yep. And drink as well. It's always 18. That's the kind of age limit for everything pretty much. But yeah, it's fine to go smoke cigarettes and drink as much as you want. I could go down to an off license right now, buy enough drink to kill myself, and that is okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't get it.
But even here, like it's legal where Miggy is, it's legal where I am. We still have possession limits of an ounce. And so like this stuff that I have over here is fine because I grew it myself, so it doesn't count toward my ounce. But there's still possession limits, and we'll make fun of that. I can go buy all the vodka. Or all the Irish whiskey and just not wake up tomorrow, or if I do wake up, have caused myself some legitimate damage and I will feel terrible for hours,
Or God forbid you have a holistic option, but then that's non-toxic, but then I can take all the aspirin I want for my back and it'll kill my liver. It could probably kill me.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, so I just don't understand where the common sense is involved in trying to explain to the government the way this is working is wrong. It needs to change. But it's just the fact that they just will not engage with us at all. And like we've even gone so far as to like there's loads of people that have been on the radio, that have done many news articles, and even there's been the formation now recently of the Irish Medicinal Cannabis Council. That has like doctors, addiction specialists, and patients on board. And I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do because, I mean, we need official bodies to speak up and say like to the government, this can no longer continue.
Do you guys need a law, man? You need a bill. I want to see how Irish laws work. I have to assume that there are regulations and laws out there. Like Jameson Distillery probably has a license to make whiskey, right? I would assume. I would
assume so. Yeah.
I would assume. They can create the process and the procedure. Like here, like we have craft grow, infusers, transporters. They're starting this new thing in Massachusetts and Boston. It's mind blowing. It's called a delivery operator. It's essentially a delivery dispensary. Never been done anywhere else. All these different types of licenses. You're telling me that Ireland can't figure that out?
Apparently not. No. It seems to be too much of an ask, even though we are offering help to the government to say, we would like to assist you in implementing sensible policy. We are here 100% to make sure we implement a system that reduces harm, that decreases teen use, and that benefits everyone. But again, no acknowledgement whatsoever. I don't know why they're doing this. It doesn't, again, I'll keep saying it, it doesn't make sense. I don't understand why they won't listen because we want to help. I thought that they want to help as well, but apparently not, because they're constantly saying we want a health-led approach. But I don't understand how it's health-led when people are being criminalized still for cannabis, saying that, we can refer you to treatment. It's like, not everyone needs treatment. People can consume cannabis and never have a problem or never need to seek treatment. Like, I keep pointing out to them in any emails or calls, I'm like, did you enjoy some coffee this morning? you did. You must be a caffeine addict, so by your logic. And they're like, well, no, I wouldn't say that. And I'm like, well, then why are you applying it to me?
I'm more of a chocoholic.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you're addicted to chocolate. You know, that's a different thing. But that's fine. That's legal. Yeah. And you know, I don't know how much it costs to go for a year in Irish jail. I'm assuming that it's in the ballpark of America jail. So you're looking at like 30 to 40,000. I guess you guys would call them euros, right? Are you still in the euro?
We are still in the euro, yeah.
30 or 40,000 euros a year. That means that Ireland's got to like carry that guy to the tune of like 120, 160,000 bucks. That's out of pocket. Yeah. You know, do you have any idea what the tax revenue could have been on that? Like if that guy was like, where's your license? Oh, it's right here. Okay, well, here's my taxes for that weed.
But see, this is the very interesting thing. When I say interesting, I mean aggravating and infuriating. When it comes to the guards in Ireland, right? When they're valuing cannabis that they seize, it is literally plucked from thin air, the numbers that they put in it. So any plant that they find, they always put a value of €800 on it. I think that's about $950. So it doesn't matter if it's just a seedling or a full flowered plant, it's €800. With flour, I think when they confiscate it, they weigh it at or they estimate it, I think at like €20 per gram, and they don't exclude the weight of any packaging or stems or seeds. They're literally just throwing these figures at it. So when the headlines are published in the papers, like Gardaí seize €120,000 worth of cannabis, and people are like, oh my God, they're doing such a great job with crime. Yeah. And it's like, no, you're not. Like these are made up figures. There's no value to this at all. Only the made up value that you place in it to make it look like you're actually dealing with crime. You're not. And it breaks my heart every time these figures are published. And the Gardaí love bragging about it on their social media. Like they post up that, oh, our amazing sniffer dog caught a load of cannabis. Good boy, Rex. And you're like,
oh, our dog.
God love
like
Rex.
Our dog was able to get involved in spoiling the criminal enterprise.
Don't bring the dog into it.
Well, you know,
the poor dog doesn't know what he's doing.
It's sad and ironic that they say they want to use a health approach to legalization when it's the prohibition itself is unhealthy for the citizens. The fact that, you know, and this is what you're gonna go through and what you're gonna need here in America. We went through the layers of empathy, right? Like first it was AIDS, and we show you that it works with sick men that are dying that had no reason to be in a position they're in, but here's this thing that helps them. Right. And then later on, we went through another wave of kids where all these kids with epilepsy and different Tourette's syndrome, just different disgusting things that it helps them. And the same with the older people. You need lots of testimony. You're going to need all this showing you the people, the Ireland citizens are better off with it legal than illegal because it's a healthier option as a medicine, as the citizen. You know, the money going towards police is ridiculous in jails for something that hasn't killed anybody.
No, Lauren actually pulled the numbers on the Irish Prison Service. He said the average cost of an inmate in Ireland is almost 98,000 euros a year, according to the Irish, and that was 2008. And so that's about $120,000 a year. So like that guy, 4 years, Ireland's got to pay $500,000. I mean, I'm not sure if you guys call them bucks. You call them like bucks, or just you always call them euros? Yeah. No,
I wouldn't say I would usually say bucks or just money. But yeah, no, I get your point. It's completely ludicrous. Even as I think it was the judge or his defense attorney or whatever even said he is a productive member of society. He was causing no hassle to anyone. He wasn't doing anything to hurt anyone. So literally, you're just ruining someone's life over some outdated law. And
somebody reports that there was a bust of 6 houses in County Kerry, found just €4 of weed last week.
4,000.
4,000 euros worth of weed.
Probably wasn't even 4,000. It was probably just like maybe a couple of plants and maybe an ounce or something. That's what I'm saying is just these figures that they put on it. It's like it makes it seem as though they are having a significant impact on some sort of criminal network and depriving them of income. But they're not. They're just criminalizing decent people. Like there was a pensioner, I can't remember if I mentioned this already, but a pensioner last year, 70 years old, caught with cannabis in his house, and the Gardaí were just like, sorry, we have to uphold the law. The man was like, look, I use this for creative purposes. I'm a musician. I'm not doing any harm to anyone. He was brought before a court and given a 2-year suspended sentence only on the condition that the Gardaí are allowed to search his house whenever they want for a 2-year period.
Wow.
Like, that's harassing old people. Yeah. You can't do that.
Yeah.
How do they think that this is protecting anyone? It's not.
Oh my God, that's
Let
horrible.
me strike. My cheeks are so red. I'm so angry.
Oh no! You need a bill. You need a bill, and then you need some people in. And I'm assuming they call them bills. You need a law, like a statute, an HR. It's a representative democracy. You mentioned, and so do you guys have like a local representative and a local senator, or how do you run your legislature?
So, oh God, that's a complicated question, and I'm not too politically versed, so if I say anything wrong, please forgive me. But we have local TDs, which are local representatives, who would then bring the issue further. If they have a seat in the Dáil, they could bring it to the Dáil. But there's mainly like 3 parties at the moment who are forming our main government: Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and the Greens. I hate them all. The Greens had a policy initially for a sensible drug policy, and they wanted to introduce it. Got to do a cannabis, basically saying that people can grow at home. There should be a legal system implemented. And as soon as the Greens came into government, they put that before the Dáil, and Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael just went, "No, we are not discussing this." And that was the
Fianna
end of it.
Fáil and Fine Gael. These are the cute little names of Irish government.
Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael.
and Fine Gael. Is that like the Republicans and the Democrats, or are those political parties, or those people?
They're parties. They're parties. So Fianna Fáil is a party, Fine Gael is a party, and the Green Party is another one. And we also have Social Democrats, Labour, people before profit. There's a load of them, and I'm really not too versed on politics here. It's something I'm only recently becoming interested in and a bit versed in because of the whole cannabis law thing. But I just feel like the Green Party totally abandoned us. Like since that got shut down, I've not heard a peep from them since. And I've written to them and I'm like, you've abandoned us. You promised that you would help implement this, and there's been no more about it. So what are you going to do now? And no response.
Very misleading with that name.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'd throw some memes out there. Fuck the Green Party. They ain't that green. Shit like that. This is what you need to do. You got
to troll them. You got to troll
them. Throw it out there.
I'm trying to be so respectful, but because some days I'm really close to losing my patience and calling them all out on their bullshit. But I'm really trying to maintain a professional approach. But some days, I mean, my cheeks are so red. You can see how angry I get about this. Some days I'm going to flip, and I'm just going to.
If I was you, I'd smoke some indica. But I'm not sure if you can. Like, that's the problem.
I don't have a
choice.
choice.
You don't want to chill out. Maybe some CBD flower, it'll make you relax a little bit. But
I could get arrested. Who knows? Because the guards won't know the difference. They could just be like, "That's real weed. Let's just take you in." And it's like, oh, is it really
I really love not being a criminal. I mean, it's not gonna lie. Like, I like growing weed too. And so it's nice to live here now, in the sense that like, oh, I should go to Florida, nicer winters. Can I grow my own weed? Not legally.
Don't bother.
Well, again,
it's a real shame.
Cold and dark.
But I know you want to be civil, Nicole, but you can't. There's no time for being civil. I mean, these guys who want to be civil, just like our Republican Party here, who want to be the grown-ups, now all of a sudden have been fighting the goddamn contesting an election they can't admit. It's like there's no time. When people sit in jail, when kids are dying, when you can mess with my personal life, no, we're done.
When you tell me what to put in my body, when it's safer, and it can actually, I'm trying to avoid cancer, not get it. I mean, like, there's some bad habits that I have, sure, but this isn't one of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. It just really makes me sad because I can do this all day, every day until, I don't have any more time to do this. But the one thing I keep saying to people is please get involved. Like, I can't do this all on my own. Other people can't do this all on their own. Everyone needs to step up. It's like the time for just sitting back and enjoying weed and saying nothing about it is over. It's 2020. It's going to be 2021 soon. Everyone needs to be calling these guys, emailing them, tagging them on social media, bombarding them, being a pain in the ass to them until they get up off their butts and do the work that needs to be done, because they're saying to us that while cannabis is illegal here, that they're content allowing an illicit market to control the industry. They're saying that we don't mind if you're exposed to the risks that are associated with contaminated cannabis. We don't care. We don't mind with letting millions of euro fly through our hands, and instead of it being put into our communities and our society. They're just saying that we don't care, so you can just deal with it. But that's not good enough anymore. It's not good enough. There's patients suffering in our country that need this medicine. There is no excuse why short term we can't import it. There is no excuse.
Safe
If
access.
they can get couriers, like, yeah, exactly. If they can get couriers to import it, this shouldn't stop. Like, expecting patients, ill people, to travel outside the country and possibly contract COVID to get medicine is the most nonsensical thing I have ever come across in my life. So...
especially considering that medicine can be grown in those greenhouses, which are currently growing plants right now.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I know for a lot of kids, like, the medicine has to be extremely specific. It has to be dosed properly. It has to be a tested product, and that's fair enough. But for the people who need to grow it at home, they should be allowed to do so. Like Alicia Maher, she is another activist, and fair play to her. She's amazing. But she had to leave Ireland and move to Spain in order to just grow her prescription on her balcony. So she bought some seeds, cannabis seeds. They were €7 each. Otherwise, her prescription, I think, would be €1,200 in Ireland for every couple of months. But why is it okay for her to grow plants on her balcony in Spain and not be able to do it in Ireland? There's no logic that anyone can explain to me from government.
But then
as to
you guys
why
are
that
both
is.
in the EU. How is that a thing then?
I don't know. We just made up our own little laws, apparently, because under EU law, it's saying that anything under, I think it's 0.3% now THC is totally fine. But according to the Misuse of Drugs Act in Ireland, nothing. We can't have any allowable amount of THC. So it's like, why are we in conflict with EU law? We're a member of the EU, so we should follow this law. But again, nobody will answer us. There's no word given whatsoever from government. They will not engage with us. And it's not good enough anymore. It's not good enough.
Bunch of stubborn hard asses.
No.
Yep.
There's one way that you can do great things with politicians in America. You just need one of these.
Checkbook.
And then I'm not sure how it is in Ireland. It may be similar.
That's the way it is in Ireland. That is the way. If I had a checkbook, I would be throwing it out. But you know, I have to pay rent, and I have to pay all the things. Like if I have
just go to the Doll and live there. Because if you're paying rent to all those politicians, be like, you owe me. Sleeping in his office tomorrow. Yeah.
I wish. But yeah, I mean, if you guys have any tips on what we can do over here, I am all ears, because there's only so much I can do on my own. I need everyone's help. There's so many great organizations in Ireland and so many different groups. We all want to come together and make this happen, but it's just, we have the ideas and the passion to see this through. But it's again, trying to get past that wall of the government that won't listen. It's like, we need to break that. How do we break that?
Well, we'll grab Michigan's laws, because I'd rather you have those than Illinois with you'll avoid risk that way. And then we change the word Michigan to Ireland, and then we change any pounds to metric, and then we introduce that at a press conference, and then you get your checkbook out and you start making checks to the who wants to sponsor this bill. Give you $100. Yeah.
That'd be nice.
They'll want a lot more than $100.
On a grassroots level, though, I'd recommend that when you guys do have a message, you sync up and just always propagate that message at the same time, because we're more powerful in numbers.
For sure, I totally agree.
Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. Where can we go to find and follow what you guys got going on at Cork Cannabis Activist Network?
So I'm on Instagram at Cork Can, and also recently came to Twitter at Cork_Can. There's so many other groups. It's not just me doing this work. I've recently joined up with ECAN, which is the European Cannabis Advocacy Network. They're amazing, and we're going to be seeing great things from them. But yeah, just keep an eye out on all social media platforms. There are so many people involved in this that want to push this through.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on again. And thanks for tuning in, everyone. Make sure you like, subscribe, keep up with all cannabis legalization news. We'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks, Nicole. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.